What's good, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another Tuesday with Reverend T, Dr. Tad, Reverend Dr. T in the building, your host and curator for Tuesdays with Tawana. Hey, Tamika, what is going on? I called you by your real government name instead of Tamika or Tammy. For today is just a beautiful day, a day to be alive and to experience another turn around the sun for you. So, celebrating you today, Tammy. I love you so much. Yeah, so for those who are joining us for the first time, whether you're going to join us live on Facebook or on any of the other platforms during the rebroadcast, we record live on Facebook as a vodcast and then we turn it into a podcast and it's shared across various platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Anchor. It's posted on LinkedIn. Facebook, on the Tuesdays with Tawana page, on Twitter. Trust me, not hard to find. So we are going to get rocking today. We're just going to chop it up for a little while. And of course, I would love to engage with you. So make your comments, and I'll read those comments and insert them into this narrative. Or if you just want to chill and listen and take it all in, that's fine as well. But as we're building community, you are important to me. You being here are very important to me because I can't build community on my own. What's up, my pink sister? Grace and blessings to you on today. Oh, Tony is in the building. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. What's up, Tony? Happy birthday, sister. Hey, Mother Carolyn, you are in the house. Thank you for being here. I so appreciate you. I know, right, Tammy? It was weird to hear the full name. Yes, you are truly 49 and fabulous for sure. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That you are. So let's see. Let's get these comments up and showing. Jan is in the building. Always good to see you. I thank you. My vibe, I'm feeding off of y'all. So thank you for coming on here with a good vibe because you make me feel good. Thank you so much. And so for today, we're going to chop it up a bit about fear, and we're going to take a few approaches to fear, if you will, and would love for you to chime in and to offer your feedback and your thoughts in the comments. I would definitely appreciate that. Yes, give Tony some shout outs for her birthday. Tamika, who we honor on today as well. Just send some loving energy her way. Julie Myers is in the building. Nice to see you as well. Y'all just make me smile. I tell y'all, Tuesdays with Tawana, it's very selfish for me because y'all just bring love and light into my world, and I am so grateful. Hey, Mama Lovey, yes, in the house from Denver. So we got Cali representing, we got Atlanta, we got Denver in the house, we got New York in the house. We are across the country, yo. Let's make this happen for sure, for sure. Yeah, let's pop up those birthday shout outs to Tony. Yes, yes. And we're also sending love and light to Tony, to her and her family, as her husband is still in the process of healing. So let's show some hearts and some love to her as well, as she rarely misses a Tuesdays with Tawana. And I am so grateful in the midst of it all. I'm grateful for each of you because you take the time out to spend time with me and to chop it up with me, because building community is not about me, it is about us. We build community together. I can't do this alone. And before we get started, I gotta show my shirt, whatever color, cancer sucks. So it has all the the colors that we use to represent. Sometimes it's breast cancer, sometimes it's kidney awareness, sometimes it's domestic violence. So some of the colors overlap, but overall, whatever the color, cancer sucks. It just sucks. Bottom line. Um, so, thank you very much. Mother Carolyn said that shirt is everything. I love it. I do need to keep track though of where I get my shirts from. I only keep track when I buy it from a black owned company. But people ask where I get the shirt from, and then I'm like, I don't know. Because I just saw it and then I just ordered it. So yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Tammy. Appreciate it. So let's chop it up a little bit. So usually, I come on and we just see which way the wind is going to blow and which way the divine will lead us in this divine conversation. And on today, I was doing in the mornings, I do my morning prayer, meditation, reflection. I might do some journaling, I might do some reading. Um, and fear, I got an email from or a text message from one of the Democrats or whatever. And in this text message, it just spewed fear, like trying to fear me or scare me into contributing to the Democrats' cause or whatever. And I thought about it and I said, President Barack Obama, when he was first elected, he started this whole social media, internet uh, campaign through Twitter and text messages. And I don't recall whether they were fearful or not. That's not the point. But when he started it, I thought it was a great idea. Like, we were in a time of millennials really tapping into the internet market, really making things happen. But then, other people started jumping on the bandwagon and started sending text messages and to get their message across, which is great. I think it's a wonderful way to get messages across, whether it's email or text message. But what I don't appreciate is that I'm going through my own ish, right? And you're texting me, telling me, "Oh no, we're in danger," and it scares me. It puts fear upon me until I open the text message and you're talking about, and it's important, losing a Senate seat or losing a gubernatorial seat or whatever. Those things are important, but the approach, I just find it to be very problematic when you're instilling fear in people in order to get them to do something. Or the whole fight against critical race theory. You have one side that's promoting fear, thinking that they're going to be erased from history, so we should not teach critical race theory, even though critical race theory has been around for decades and it was for law students and it's about the criminal justice system and so on and so forth. And racial justice needs to be taught, and our true history needs to be taught in schools, and we need to be critical about it, and we need to talk about race. So let's not play this word game, right? But they instilled this fear into their white supremacist counterparts, and then ended up winning races because of it, right? Because they instilled this fear. Julie said, "Yep, that fear mongering done by politicians, it's horrible. It's hard. It's a huge part of why we are so divided." Thank you so much, Julie, for that. It is because fear, having the root of the message being fear, really forces one to just go on that side without critical thinking, without really evaluating what's happening, because the fear is excuse me, overcoming you. The fear is in your mind, in your heart, in your gut, and they're really trying to reach all of those pieces of you. Mother Carolyn said, "I agree. Fear promotions move us to division." So I'm struggling. It gets to the point where I don't even open an email from elected officials. I won't even open the text message anymore. So if you do have something valuable to say, you've missed a voter. You've missed a committed constituent. You've missed someone who really cares about the political system and really wants to play her part because of fear mongering. And that is so unfair. It's unjust. It speaks to the oppressive behaviors of the oppressor. You know what happened back in from slavery and beyond, right? It was always these fear tactics. If you run away, I'm going to shoot you and kill you, or if you do this, I'm going to hang you, or if you do that, I'm going to take your children away, or if you do this, and instilling this fear into people so that they don't take action, right? So then I was scrolling through Facebook earlier this morning, and Reverend Dr. Irie Lynn Sessions, a womanist, has a womanist worship service on, I believe, Saturdays. Just a beautiful spirit. I never met her in person. We know each other from mutual friends on Facebook. And her post was, "Don't let fear be your therapist." I said, that's pretty deep. Because when we center fear and we allow fear to make decisions for us that aren't good for us or aren't for our well-being, then the fear is going to outweigh any type of good that could possibly come out of a said situation. So instead of letting fear be your therapist, and I'm not one to tell you not to fear, because I truly believe that God gave us all of these emotions, whether it's fear or anger or joy, happiness, sad, tears, laughter, all of that. It's all divine, right? So when we look at fear and we use fear to propel us out of a dangerous situation, to move us out of a dangerous situation and into something that is going to speak life and speak peace and speak hope and speak joy, instead of focusing on the fear, I truly believe that's what the writer meant when the writer said, God did not give us a spirit of fear, meaning that it does not consume us. It does not drive everything that we do. It does not make all of the decisions that we do, but it does play a part in some decision making. For instance, and again, y'all know blanket statements are the worst for me. I do my very best. I'm not perfect, and I try not to make blanket statements, and this is one of those times, because fear is going to look different depending on who you are and your situation. For instance, fear of being abused, someone in a domestic violence situation being fearful of their abuser and being stuck because they don't know a way out. They can't see their way out. So they think that that fear is saving them. That moment of just acquiescing or dealing with the said abuse or conforming to the desires and the needs of the abuser, it's letting fear control responses and control actions, right? It's not for that person's good. It's not going to necessarily save that person's life, but in that moment, this is what they might be thinking and feeling and experiencing at the time. On the flip side of that, it was fear that propelled me to get out of a situation, because I did not want to be in a situation where I feared the person that I was with, or feared that they might hurt me or my children or my family or my loved ones. So then I followed the daunting process of getting out of that situation, and even that caused fear, because I didn't know if they were going to grant me the order of protection, because that's not guaranteed. I didn't know that they were going to put him in jail for over a year. I didn't know if I would be able to escape safely. I didn't know. So the unknown sometimes causes us to be in this mode of fear. But the key is not to allow that fear to keep us stuck in a situation that may cause us harm or no good. Something as simple as a dog that you don't know, it's not your friend's dog, it's not your dog, and if that dog came running up to you barking, ready to attack you, that fear in that moment hopefully will move you out of that situation. Like, you may not just stand there. I mean, there are ways to calm a dog down if they're trained in a certain way, but in that moment you don't know that dog, you don't know what they're trained to do. So the fear should encourage you, should incite you to and move you out of that fearful situation and move you into safety. So when I think about fear and think about this cancer diagnosis, there is an element of this that's fearful, because there's fear of the unknown. Even the doctors don't know the true cause of cancer. We talk about it could be dietary, it could be environmental, it could be hereditary, it could be a multitude of things. They just don't know. So even in the unknown, having that fear, like, is this chemo really going to work? Am I going to be able to sustain chemotherapy every 3 weeks indefinitely? You know, what is going to happen to the rest of my body and my organs and my day-to-day living situation? Will I ever be able to live a normal life? And those fearful things come to mind, but then I stop and say, what I have is right now. What I have is an opportunity to dispel fear by coming on Tuesdays with Tawana and talking and chopping it up with my community. What I do to dispel fear is to be with my family and make the most of the moment. What I do to dispel fear is to appreciate the sunrise that I saw this early this morning, or even the sun shining right now, or having an opportunity to do the things that I love, complete my dissertation, submit a chapter for a book, help out certain organizations that are doing great work in the community. So taking that and removing that fear and replacing it with being in the moment and tapping into that courage, that resilience, that resistance from fear, in order for me to be the best that I can be. So Tamika says, we let our fears drive us, but fear itself, hold on. But fear itself is not our real problem. Our real problem is that we fear the wrong things. Often we notice fear's warning, but ignore the guidance. Wow. Who was that quote by? Let me go back and see who that quote was by. Jay Shetty. We fear the wrong things, or people use that so that we can fear the wrong things. People use certain things knowing that it is going to get us. Like, vote for me because I'll get you the health care that you need, because right now the health care that you have is not giving you the access that you need in order to live and not succumb to whatever said grave disease that you were diagnosed with. Or you can make more money. If you don't vote for me, then you are not going to get rich. You're not going to pay less taxes. You're going to live impoverished, and instilling that fear as if the things that I am experiencing in my life is wrong. The things that I'm experiencing in my life is bad. It is dehumanizing. It is degrading. It is demeaning when you use my said situation against me. And this is what I believe is happening in our communities and in our nation right now, that you are so quick to call me out on my situation and instill this moment of fear that is not necessary, because that's not going to solve the issue or the problem or the challenge or the diagnosis. Instilling fear is only going to, if not approached properly in a way that is going to be out of abundance, out of um, out of the overflow, out of hope, out of encouragement and empowerment. If it's not coming from that space, then the likelihood of it coming from a very negative, detrimental space is it just it becomes insurmountable. So I wanted to talk about fear today because during these times, these are very trying times that we are living in, and we're upon the holidays. We're in the midst of still in the midst of COVID, going on 2 years. We have another variant. We have lost 800,000 beloveds. We send out love and light to those in Kentucky and beyond for a tornado that spanned 250 miles and killed too many people. And now we're hearing the stories of those people where people were told not to leave, or people and people were told not to leave. Why? Was there some element of fear there, or was there some element of fear and control? Like, you need to stay here because I'm in control and I know that this is the best place for you to be. How do we make decisions for other people rooted in fear? Nothing good can come out of that. It may seem good in the moment or not, but nothing good can come out of somebody making a decision for me that's rooted in fear, or instilling fear into my situation or circumstance, causing me to make decisions that I wouldn't normally make, causing me to make decisions that is not coming from a good, fruitful place, coming from a place making decisions that is coming from a place that's going to be good for me and for my family. Yes, Mama Lovey, it is all about control. We can't let fear control our decisions. It may be a part of, but it can't be the sole root cause of us making decisions. Because 9 times out of 10, I mean, I didn't do research on this, but my experience tells me that there is something about fear and making decisions out of fear that will result in detrimental ways that will not end up good for us, especially for us, as people of color, as people who are comrades and co-conspirators in this work, wanting us to live and not die at the hands of systemic ills. Fear has no place in that, because then fear will have us feeding into racism. Fear will have us feeding into sexism. Fear will have us feeding into xenophobia. Fear will have us feeding into all the other isms, the classisms. Fear will have us feeding into religious toxicity. Fear will have us feeding into things that are not giving us life. So when we have these moments of fear, when we have these thoughts or these feelings in our belly, or there's something aching in our heart because of the unknown, or we're fearful of something or someone, this is why we build community. Because it's so important that we have conversations with people that are going to help us push through this fear and push us to a point of push us beyond the fear, so that we can do something and be in a way that is value add. Like, we're adding value to our lives and to our world. We are resilient. We are adding hope, and we're adding that perseverance and that resilience, despite the fear, right? So it's so important, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And we don't know how to get through the said situation or the fearful situation. We don't know. And it's okay. When you have other people on your journey with you that are going to help you walk through it and help you press through it, you don't have to do this alone. So during this time where the holidays are coming, I did post the Suicide Hotline up on the banner, and I will continue to do that for next week as well, because we will gather next week, because we're just going to keep pressing. We're going to keep pressing on. Um, I did post the suicide hotline because during this time, this is when fear of life begins to take over and take control, and people are dying by suicide. And we want to do whatever possible to bring that person out of that fear and out of that frustration and despair, and bring them into a space that is life-giving, life-affirming. Mama Lovey says, I wonder if it was fear when they told us to go back to your work area when the towers were coming down. My, Mama Lovey Cunningham, for those of you who don't know, um, is a survivor of 9/11. She was in one of the towers, and I dare not tell her whole story. Maybe we'll have her on to tell her story, because when they told her not to go, uh, she went, and she went because of an angel, a beautiful gentleman. Mama Lovey, type his name in the comments, please, because I just had it in my head, and it just Lenny. Lenny, never mind. I can never forget Lenny. Lenny was like, Lovey, let's go. Let's go. So it wasn't the fear that kept him, it was the fear that propelled him to take Mama Lovey out of that building. And because of him, and because of the courage of Mama Lovey saying, you know what? I hear you. And I will not let fear keep me in this situation, because what they're telling me means me no good right now. What good is it to stay? And she left, and she's here with us today to tell her story about what she did to live through the attack on what was known as the Twin Towers at the time in New York City, 9/11. She is a living testimony of what it is to work through your fears and to work beyond your fears, and to take that courage and say, I don't know what the other side looks like. I don't know where this is going to take me, but it's got to be better than where I am. So I will not let fear let me remain stuck. I'd rather go into the unknown, because then I have choices. There are choices out there. I don't know what they are, but I know what this is. And I know this is not good for me. This is not life-giving. This is scary. And I need to move forward out of this situation into a space of courage, into a space of self-love, into a space of self-care, into a space of resilience, into a space of tapping in and thinking about our ancestors that had to escape harrowing situations as well, thinking about people today who had to escape harrowing situations, and people back at 9/11 who had to escape harrowing situations, and how they were able to push through. May they encourage you today. Whatever you might be facing and whatever you might be going through, push your way through beyond the fear. I can't tell you what the end result is going to be, because oftentimes we make decisions that are not dependent or contingent upon the outcomes, because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. But what we do know, it's going to be different than where we are right now. So let these stories encourage you to move through fear and to respond in a way that is a response out of resilience and courage and empowerment versus out of fear. Don't I encourage you not to make decisions rooted in fear. Allow that fear, feel all the feels, feel what it is that you got to feel, and then use those feelings to press you forward. Operate out of your overflow, operate out of your abundance, operate out of your divinity, operate out of your divine prowess, operate out of your co-creative spirit, operate out of your imagination, operate out of moving forward. I don't know what the end is going to be, but I do know that I'm going to make it to the other side, and it's going to be different than where I am right now. Be encouraged today, beloved, with all that we are going through in this nation. I encourage you to be encouraged and not to let fear take over and stifle you and keep you stuck. Or as Dr. Irie Lynn Sessions says, don't let fear be your therapist. Don't let fear be your guide. Don't let fear give you advice. Let the fear teach you a lesson and move on and exhibit and exemplify and live out that lesson that's going to be life giving, that's going to be life changing, that's going to be protective, that's going to be heartfelt, that's going to be different than where you are right now. Jan says, fear, false evidence appearing real. And yes, there are times when we create these moments of fear in our mind because it's false evidence, because we're fearful of something that we don't know, right? And sometimes that fear is real, like being in a domestic violence situation. So, Jan, thank you for mentioning that, because it's no right or wrong here. Sometimes that fear is false, that false evidence of appearing real. And we make it up and we end up staying stuck. So no matter what it is, hey, Brittany, yeah, you right. No matter what it is in that moment, get your girls, get your tribe, get your boys. Press through. Let us not let fear make these decisions for us. And I'll circle back to our politicians. I hope that our politicians will stop the fear mongering. I hope that the politicians will do what's good for the people. I hope that the politicians who we voted into office will keep the promises that they made, which so far some of the promises were followed up on and some weren't, because I hear that the student loan debt now has to be repaid, and we're still in the midst of COVID. We still have people who aren't back to work. We still have schools that are opening and closing, which then impacts the parents or the caregivers or the guardians from going back to work. The list goes on and on and on. Let us not let fear make our decisions for us. Brittany says, imagining the worst and fearing it, and boom, now we're on anxious. It just keeps going. The vicious cycle just keeps going and going and going. Mama Lovey said, you bring so much light to those who are living with fear. Oh, thank you so much, Mama Lovey. I appreciate you. You taught me well. Jan says, so we have to face everything and run. Yes, yes. Make it happen, Jan. Like, what? I'm not doing that right there. I'm out. We don't know. We are out of here. Let's make this happen. Tamika said, fear does not prevent death, it prevents life. Buddha. I'm going to leave that right there. Fear does not prevent death, it prevents life. Y'all meditate on that and hold on to that as you're going through this season. My God, today. Yeah, Tamika done dropped the mic. I can't pay back my student loans now, so yeah. 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 Well, thank you, Mother Carolyn. The things that I teach is through experience and through the love of community and what my community has taught me. Everyone on this thread has taught me something in one way, shape, or form. Don't even know it. Don't even realize it. Julie, Jan, don't even realize it. Jackie, Mama Lovey, and Mother Carolyn, I call them, use those terms of endearment because they teach me. They teach me. And I'm grateful. So be encouraged today, beloved. Be encouraged. I look forward to seeing you on next Tuesday. Our time is up. Just know that the decisions that we make, if a day is too much, take one moment at a time. But whatever you do in your decision making and taking the next step and moving from one space to another, just let us not let fear be our guide. Let hope be our guide. Let resilience be our guide. Let our divine prowess be our guide. Let our strength, our divine strength, not the strong black woman trope, let our divine strength be our guide. Let our joy be our guide. Let our peace be our guide. All of those things that the world can't give and the world can't take away. The world is giving us fear. Let's think about that. Think about the things that the world tries to give us, and then let's operate on the divine things that are given to us day in and day out. New mercies, grace and mercy, provision, protection, healing, peace, hope, love, joy. All of those things are that the world can't give. The divine gives to us. And if we can move forward and base our decisions and our next steps and our next move, however we're going to move and shake in this world over the next moment, over the next day, over the next week, over the next couple of weeks, let us do it out of divine prowess so that we don't do it rooted in fear. I love y'all. I learned so much in these moments, and I'm so grateful for each of you. And until next Tuesday, this is Tuesdays with Tawana. I love you for just taking the time to be with me for 30 minutes on a Tuesday. I honor and respect your time. I honor and respect you. I see you. I love you. Be kind to someone today. Send someone a beautiful text message. Give somebody a smile that you normally wouldn't smile to, or even just tell someone you love them and you see them and you honor them. I love you. I see you. I honor you. And even in the midst of whatever color cancer sucks, we don't operate from this model. We operate from a healing model that is going to move us forward to great things. I love you. Peace to everyone. See you next Tuesday. I'm out. Later.